أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه أجمعين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. جمعة مباركة. Inshallah, we will begin reading the Arbaoon of Imam Al-Nawawi, the 40 hadith collection of Imam Al-Nawawi. And this book, Al-Arbaoon, is a collection of 40 ahadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And as the author himself says, it is comprised of some of the most important ahadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And not to say that other ahadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam are not important. Anything that comes out of the mouth of the beloved is of the utmost importance, but these ahadith have a certain quality to them that is not found in all of the ahadith, and that is why Imam Al-Nawawi has chosen them to include in his collection. Before we start reading the book itself, the collection itself, meaning the ahadith in the collection, which will take us about maybe 40 sessions, 41 videos. This one will simply purely be introduction, and from the next video we'll begin reading the ahadith that exist in the collection. But before we start, we need to know a little bit about the compiler, meaning the scholar who compiled these ahadith, and just also a little bit we need to know a little bit about the book itself. The scholar who compiled the ahadith, as I mentioned earlier, is Imam Al-Nawawi. Imam Al-Nawawi, his full name is Muhyiddin Yahya ibn Sharaf Al-Nawawi. And he was born in a place called Nawa, and that is why we call him Imam Al-Nawawi. And Nawawi is referring back to the place of his birth. He was born in the year 631 of Hijrah, and he passed away in the year 676 of Hijrah. So he lived a short life according to many people's standards. He lived about 45 years, but in those 45 years he left behind many great works that Muslims benefit from to this day, one of them being the collection that we will start reading, inshallah. And a little bit about the collection itself. The collection is why 40, you may ask. Why? What's the significance of the number 40? There is a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ in which he says, من حفظ على أمتي 40 حديثا من أمر دينها بعثه الله يوم القيامة في زمرة الفقهاء والعلماء. Whoever compiles or preserves compiles 40 of my hadith for my ummah that have to do with the matters of their religion, Allah Azza wa Jal will resurrect them on the day of judgment with the fuqaha and the scholars. Now there are many ways that this hadith has been transmitted, and there are many different variations or narrations of this hadith. But the scholars, the huffaz of hadith are those who have memorized over about 100,000 ahadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ibn Hajar rahimahullah was one of them. They all agree, all the huffaz of hadith agree that this particular hadith is da'if, is weak. But it is also the consensus of the ulama scholars that it is okay to act or implement a weak hadith when it comes to fadailul amal, when it comes to the good and beneficial deeds. So Imam Al-Nawawi mentions this particular hadith, but at the same time, immediately after that, he says, even though the scholars have said it is okay to implement or act upon a weak hadith, I am still not relying upon this particular hadith when compiling my collection, but rather I am relying on the sayings of the sound sayings of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. One of them being, وَلْيُبَلِّغِ الشَّاهِدُ مِنْكُمُ الْغَائِبَ. Let the one who is present from you convey what I have said to the person or to the ones who are absent. So in essence, Imam Al-Nawawi is doing that for us. So I think that's enough as an introduction for Imam Al-Nawawi and also the book itself. There is much to say about Imam Al-Nawawi, and there's much to say about the book, about the collection, this 40 hadith collection of Imam Al-Nawawi. And I will ask you to read up more on it. There are many resources which talk about, have more information on these two. So I encourage everyone to read more about Imam Al-Nawawi and also about this book. And I also encourage everyone to start memorizing these ahadith as we go through them. The first hadith that we will start with is the famous hadith, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. Indeed, the validity or the completeness of actions is based on their intentions. May Allah Azza wa Jal purify all of our intentions, and inshallah these 41 videos will be of benefit and will be full of wisdom of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه أجمعين آمين.